Welcome to Saucy Tea Time with Fluff, Bunny, Nalir, and Harl. Hey guys, welcome to another Saucy Tea Time. Today it is only Bunny and I because Nalir's at finals right now, right, Moo?
Yes. That
Uh,
just reminds me, school everybody in school is either graduating or getting ready to finish up their finals and stuff. And then I haven't been in school for quite a while, but college is one of those times where it's just you think it's carefree, but it really isn't, and you know, you blink an eye and it's already fucking done and over with. But let me talk about if any of our viewers are in college or anything, you know, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're enjoying what you're studying and you're enjoying and interested in anything you're taking, because I remember this one instance. So I went to a private college um that's very has a really prominent, respected, well known pharmacy program. And I remember this girl, kind of walking with her parents, and it's not a out of place, scene. But all of a sudden I just hear her yelling about, you know, I don't under she I think she literally said, "I don't know what I could do to make you happy." And I just kind of "Oh, geezy, I'm gonna walk faster because I don't want to be a part of this." And so for everybody who is either starting, in the middle, or at the tail end, make sure you're doing what you want to do, because college is not your parents' thing, it's your thing. And like right now I have a piece of paper on the wall that literally does nothing for me right now. But Foof, since I know you haven't actually gone through the whole 4 year official traditional route of schooling. What are your thoughts about school?
well, I definitely agree because uh, back when I lived in San Jose, and I went to school for a couple years, actually I should say a year and a half, and just taking a bunch of classes that didn't really make sense because I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I had a vague idea of the route I wanted to take, and I knew it involved art. So I went to my counselor and my dad with that, and they both just gave me this random ass thing of scheduling, and I did not enjoy it at all. The only classes that I enjoyed were my music classes, basically, which, makes sense to me because I've always enjoyed music. I took music like 3 years in high school, and that's not including the last year or the last 2 years of high school when I had 2 to 3 different music classes. But anyways, those are just one class I had a bunch of among a bunch of classes that didn't make sense, like history of modern art and stuff. And eventually, it just burned me out doing a bunch of stuff. I mean, I know you need to get like a general education stuff out of the way first, but they were having me do stuff that wasn't even giving. I mean, it was a community college still, but they weren't giving me classes that I looked later that were transferable credits for the general education type things. So I just stopped. I was like, I can't do this. Not only am I doing these classes that aren't even transferable credits that my counselor that was imposing on me, um, I was not enjoying it, and I just didn't have the money to be doing things that wasn't going to help me in the future, so I stopped. But now I've moved and I'm getting into trying to get into a more financially secure situation where I probably won't be going to school like most people do right after high school, where they go and they just, do nothing but school. I'll be working, and so I will be taking scattered classes, but I actually look forward to it because now I know, like you said, I know what I want to do and what I enjoy doing, which is obviously music. I want to be a music teacher or something along that path. and now school is something that I look forward to doing again. So it definitely helps wanting and enjoying, uh, knowing that you're going to be on a path that leads to enjoying what you love, what you do.
Yeah, and, like, I think the worst, um, thing about going to college right after high school is that up until the last day of high school, you were seen as a basically a kid still, even though the age 18 you're considered an adult. You still had to ask to go to use the restroom, you still had to, you know, behave and not ask any questions. You had a expectation of being a certain way up until the last day of school. And when you get into college, if you didn't learn by yourself how to do time management or study, properly or, understand where to get, types of resources, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that you have these advisors who are supposed to kind of guide you to um down towards, routes in which benefits you and your study, but you're sitting here a deer in headlights thinking, I don't know what I want to fucking do, you know. So really just, for anybody who is about to start college or is thinking of going and getting their bachelor's degree or, anything like that, you need to, take a step back, figure out what type of person you want to be afterwards and figure out the steps to get to that route.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are some people who probably have like parents hovering down their neck. You just
Yeah.
if you do what Moose says and just think about what you actually want and logically think about the step to do it, you can just explain to them like this is what I want to do and doing it in a roundabout way or doing it in your way, etc. It's just uh it's just not gonna work. It's just gonna be to cost more money, take longer at the end of it all. Um,
Yeah,
is
and really if you're into, drawing and art and stuff, there are there are ways you can get a degree if that's what you want and that I know a ton of graphic artists who are very successful right now who are very more successful than I am, which, as a person with a quote more desirable degree, it's kind of funny because, everybody looks at my degree and it's like, "Why don't you have a job yet?" And I'm like, "Well, to be honest, uh, nobody has really wanted to give me a job." But yeah, so this is college is your education and you need to take control of it and you need to help yourself, basically. Help yourself to it. Learn how to do your time management, study skills, reward yourself properly. Like, you study hard, you understand. So, one of the things about school is don't memorize. Find a way to retain the information without having to memorize it. A lot of a lot of times um people who study, they just memorize and sometimes it works for them, but most of the time it doesn't. Don't fit in that mold if you don't try to fit yourself into a mold if you don't actually fit into it. It's really what it is, and, you'll end up a happier person even if you don't, if you decide to leave school, take a break. Nobody's gonna dock you any points just because you think you're being overwhelmed. It's your life, you take control of it.
oh yeah.
So,
Especially
um so, that school's kind of, you've been doing all your life and stuff. It's just when you get to college is it's the place where you have to make the choices. And I've made some really minor choices, but it's definitely resulted into something kind of lackluster. But yeah, enough of that school. Nobody wants to talk about school. It's freaking finals week or whatever. I know a bunch of people graduated and they're ready to get summer going. And speaking of summer, JoJo Stardust Crusaders Part 2. Like
Yes, we are getting close. Well, the presumably, I haven't read the manga. I know you have, but
no, I just wikied everything and I know like a lot of things, but so right now, last week's episode introduced Ice or Cold Ice. That is his edited name. Of course, we're talking about Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Eyes. Oh, is that the guy with the stand that eats itself?
Yeah, the other dimension dude. And so Vanilla Ice has this stand power, and what it does is its mouth is a doorway to another dimension, and it can basically eat itself into oblivion, and then uneat itself into oblivion. And it's this fight is the last fight between our protagonists and the main, villain, who's Dio.
Dio. Oh,
Oh, jeezy.
okay. But that whole dimension thing. You know how you're saying Abdul is dead and stuff like that.
Mhm.
See, there is. As soon as I saw Abdul get eaten, as soon as I saw his arms on the ground, I two things popped in my head. It said if the arms stay on the ground and they just stay like that, then Abdul really is dead. Otherwise, he's gonna have to get two, mechanical arms. But if there's a chance, if there's a small chance that the guy picks it up and eats it, then there's also a bigger chance that Abdul is alive because he didn't eat him per se. He ate him into a different dimension. And while that's kind of stretching it a bit, the fact that he ate the arms could mean that Abdul is no longer separated from him or in that dimension, and his arms will reappear. I mean, it sounds strange, but there's many enemies and stories that have similar types of things, such as Full Metal Alchemist. The whole getting their body back, right?
Yeah.
And their body part and his arm and leg were in that other dimension, which has led me to think that Abdel is most likely alive. Otherwise, I mean, that if he is alive, this is the second time they've quote killed him off, supposedly, and then he comes back. But this time, all the characters will think he is dead except for just Polnareff.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
so but it's getting down to the wire, like literally um so this is basically the third generation in the JoJo Bizarre Adventure series, and it started out with Jonathan and some weird Stone Mask and Dio. And what happened in that one, you know, very, very short summary is that Dio turned into a vampire and wanted to rule the world, and Jonathan stopped him. And then the second series, it follows Jonathan's grandson, Joseph, who's the best JoJo, by the way.
who's the best judge
Best JoJo ever.
ever?
Ever.
Even old Joseph.
Even old Joseph, which we'll get to, but second series deals with the originators of the stone mask that turned people into vampires and Mayan deity like figures, and Joseph saves the day or whatever. Spoiler alert. And then um, this third generation, which is Stardust Crusaders that we are watching currently, deals with Joseph's grandson Jotaro, and old Joseph, because Joseph is older now and he's like with them and he's like this, buff silver daddy. Oh my god, Joseph's still the best JoJo ever. And then we have Dio from the first part, who uh was a severed head at the end of the first part, and he basically stole Jonathan's body. and so he's now ahead on Jonathan's buff body, and they're like, "We gotta stop him. He's so evil." And yeah, this is where we are. We are literally the doorstep of that final battle between Jotaro, old Joseph, and their companions and Dio. And we're
And
just so freaking
old
excited.
Joseph, yes, and old Joseph just like kind of grasping the gap at the time. I mean, he's old. Jotaro is his grandson, and Jotaro is around 18. Dio is resting on Jonathan's body, who is Joseph's grandfather.
Yeah,
So, J-
it's
so Jotaro, who is the main JoJo, what is it? His name is Jotaro K-
Kujo.
Kojoru
Kujo.
or something.
It's Jotaro
Well,
Kujo. So they get
Kujo,
the
yeah.
Joe
So they
from
make
the
it
first
JoJo
name, first part of his name, and then the Joe from his last name.
instead of like the Joe Star, but still,
Yeah.
they are the Joe Star, tree line. And at one point, Joe Taro does in a monologue say, "No, this is how the Joe Stars do it." But yeah, it's it sounds very cliche and very cliche vampire and stuff like that. But no, it's very unique.
Let's talk about the scenes in the Stardust Crusaders where Dio is basically molesting his body in front of a mirror, and it's like the hottest thing I have ever seen animated. Like he is literally like touching himself and he's sweating and he's like talking to his body like it's still like disconnected from him, and he's like, "Do you feel that, Jonathan? Do you?" And it's like, "Oh, jeez. This is not I keep talking about how this anime is not for guys, even though it's a very manly anime. It's eye candy for girls and for people of
Yeah,
that persuasion. It's so good. Mm, yes. Oh,
it's,
jeez. Or
I
just
mean,
thinking about
you
it.
kind of make it sound like I don't really know if we should go more into. I mean, this we pretty much just
we could
summarized.
we could probably have like 5 shows on JoJo, but yeah, we should, we should just keep going.
But yeah, um, well, Joseph, why is Joseph the best? People ask.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
why don't we tell you? Not only is he, freaking beautiful as fuck, and he's so funny. He's
He's he's silly.
unlike Jonathan and unlike Jotaro. Jonathan and Jotaro were basically brute strength. They brute strength through everything, basically.
Mhm.
Jotaro is sort of like a moody kid, and actually until a point in season two of Stardust Crusaders, basically season what really it's actually like season four of JoJo. Um, he was just a devoid of character, but still, I mean, Jonathan had more character than
Mhm.
he did, but still, they both just brute strength and everything. All of Joseph's victory is because of how, I mean, he's strong, yes,
And he's
but
resourceful.
he's never stronger than his opponent, and that's where the difference. Jonathan had to still use some of his wit, but he was still mostly brute strength. Jotaro is while it shows him using intelligence, the fact of the matter is most of the time he wins just because he was much stronger than his enemies. Not just if his opponents are always usually incredibly more so stronger than he is, and he has to use his wits to win.
Yeah,
Plus,
so
he's
one of
incredibly funny and ridiculous.
one of Joseph's defining scenes is he is in Mexico, rescuing
Friend,
his friend
Speedwagon.
his friend slash uncle Speedwagon, and he he's trying to sneak into this Nazi base, and he dresses up as a woman, delivering some goods, and he's it. Oh, it's the best because the Nazis are totally not fooled, and he's like, "Oh, "Oh, do you want some wine or some whatevers?" And oh my gosh, oh, so good.
Yeah, I mean, when we say he's clever, we don't mean like he is like super smart and like I mean he analyzes everything and he is super smart, but he's clever and he's innovated in such a stupid way, and you're just like, it's usually that stupid way that works.
Yeah, he's always thinking ahead, like 2, 3 steps ahead and stuff. So that's the type of JoJo, and he has the humor, he's the best, and when he's old Joseph, so the highlight of Stardust Crusaders is that this new power called Stands, which is kind of a spiritual embodiment of, this power. And usually they take on a humanoid type form besides the user. And for Joseph, it's not a humanoid form, it's like in these thorny vines. And one of the powers he has is if he has a camera, he can use his power to smash it and it will give him a picture. So he has all these pictures of Dio, molesting
And
his body, and he's like, "Here's my grandfather's body."
and the way they know that is because Holly, uh, Joseph's dad, and Jotaro all have a Joestar birthmark that's a star like on
On
their
the back of their necks, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
which
so, like, the main reason why they are trying to defeat Dio and make him not take over the world is that Joseph's daughter, Holly, is, a very not aggressive character. They're like, "Oh, she's a mother, she loves she loves her daddy, she loves her son," and because of her passive nature, she is, in danger of the Joestar blood power, basically killing her from the inside out. So they have to stop Dio to kind of, like,
bec-
counteract it or something because he is not
yeah,
supposed to
because
exist.
he is not supposed to exist, and the fact that he has a relatives of theirs bodies makes them all like have stands. And Holly body, which is very not muscular, unlike Jotaro and uh, Joseph, and Avdol mentions one of the characters mentions like in order to be able to have a stand or to endure having a stand, you need to be very physically capable, which
Well,
she's a very tiny
that's
woman.
not really the case because 'cause you've seen some of the enemies who are very physically not imposing, like, you have, Mariah, who's, this little petite girl, well, not girl, a woman, and, she has that power that magnetizes things and stuff, and she's not, very physical. It's all about your mental capacity and whether you are aggressive enough to take over and be a commanding force
Oh,
in, in that,
so
and
like when Jotaro had to learn how to control it in the beginning of the show.
mhm. Well, because
Uh,
he's kind of like a, whatever, kind of kid, and he's like I mean, he is buff, so, mentally he's probably aggressive as fuck. I mean, even Kakyoin is not very physically imposing. He's very slender, but he is aggressive,
yeah,
mentally.
when yeah, that makes more sense than what I thought it was.
Yeah, because when you get into the further series, you'll see that the characters start deviating from the big buff physical imposingness to like kind of almost normal, slender. I know the next story arc, which is Diamond is Unbreakable, you have Joseph's illegitimate son, Josuke. That's a whole yeah, Joseph is a very active, old man. Um, but you have his
He cheated
yeah,
on Suzy
I
Q?
know, right? That's so
How could
bad.
he?
It's
He loves
so
Suzy
bad. He
Q.
loves Suzy Q, but I guess he loves the women's more, or the women's love him. So, yeah, so you have Josuke, and he's kind of like, not very physically imposing as much as like say Jotaro or even Jonathan back in the day. And then you get to the next story arc, which is Gold Experience, and you have and it gets kind of like a soap opera-y because you have so in Stardust Crusaders we have Dio's head on Jonathan's body, and how that connects to Gold Experience is that Dio with Jonathan's body goes and has sex with a ton of women. He has a lot of illegitimate children, and one of them is Giorno, and they live in Italy for some reason. So, and Giorno is very slender, and the author manga artist has actually said that he wanted to deviate from the muscular nature of the past JoJo's and give this new character design more of a boy band look. So yeah, we have that, and then you have, of
Plus,
course, you have.
Dio was slender before he took JoJo's
Well,
body
he
as
was also
well.
very muscular too. Like, I mean, he wasn't as buff as Jonathan, but he was still kind of like he still had the 8 pack, and he still had like the broad shoulders and the muscles and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then to deviate further from that buff character design, after Gold Experience, you have Stone Ocean with Jotaro's daughter Jolene, and she's, as a female, you don't have pecs or stuff. Well, you can, but it's just the way she is designed is she's not muscular or buff at as say like her dad or the past JoJo's.
Wait, so is Giorno Dia's son or Jonathan's son?
Giorno is Dio's son, but with Jonathan's body.
Yeah, so is he a Joestar or
He is a
what?
Joestar because he has the star on his neck.
Oh
But
goodness.
it's because Dio had Jonathan's body. So it's literally like Dio with Jonathan's body. So like it's like a weird threesome in essence. But yeah,
Oh
and
goodness.
and Giorno's not the only illegitimate child. He's the only pretty one, I should say. Because the other ones are kind of
Okay.
like they're kind of like mine. Well, I don't know, but from what I've seen, they don't really they don't have a very big role
Appealing. Oh,
or appealing. They're
okay.
not very appealing either. And then I think after Stone Ocean, you get into Crazy Monsters or something like that. I forget. Or is that the you get into this weird alternate universe and it just gets thrown out of the fucking air and it just gets crazier. And then after that, you have Gappy.
Well, it's good to know we have a lot to look forward
Yeah,
to.
we do have a lot to look forward. The people who are animating JoJo, David Productions, I think they're called. They've kind of like teased some Gold Experience uh test animations, and people are just freaking the fuck out about it because they're like, "Oh my god, that means they're gonna do it," and we have to get through Diamond is Unbreakable before we get to Gold Experience and stuff. So we're gonna JoJo's definitely you know gonna have a long run. I mean, it's already had a long
Yeah.
run, but it's gonna have an even longer run as an anime series.
Yeah, I love JoJo. It's gotten up there on my list of, well, I think we had like a top three list, and I think it's in my top three list now.
Yeah. So speaking of anime and JoJo and stuff, you know what's coming up?
Yeah, next week. Well, not next week. Next week, Bunny's not going to be here because she's getting ready. But in a couple weeks, right? A couple weeks, Fanime,
Yeah,
which is a once a year for Labor Day weekend.
Memorial
So
Day.
from Memorial Day, yeah, I get those two mixed up because I'm dumb. Uh, it registrations you can pick it up on Thursday, and then anyways. So sort of Thursday night to Monday to 3. In California, in San Jose, there's a anime slash video game slash anything you see on TV on a webcamic, whatever convention called Fanime. And I'm not going this year. It'll be the first year since I started going for like in the past 6 years that I haven't gone. but Nalir and Moo will be there, so it'll just be me and a guest on our onesies, on our twosies.
Yeah, and I've been going since like I was in the 8th grade, and I was in the 8th grade back in like 1998.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until uh my junior year of high school, and that's when I started going.
Yeah.
That was
So so it's a really it's considered a very big anime convention, and um the only reason why I know this is because I guess a person we know who lives in Missouri is like, "Oh my god, Fanime. That's like so big." It's like,
wait, who?
Reaver.
Oh, he knows about
Yeah,
Fanime?
I suppose like I think the way he described it, it's like the mecca of anime conventions, and for a Californian who knows about it, who's been going for it for so long, I really don't think it's that, big or anything. I guess it's because 'cause I've been going for so long, and I mean, I've seen it grown from, you know, the first time I've attended to, like, now, and it has gotten bigger. Um,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they did definitely because of the remodeling they've done to the convention center. But like, I guess because you and me, we've lived in the area most of our
yeah,
lives. I say most for me, and so we found out about it locally, whereas everyone else that's coming from across the state or
and
something.
out of country.
We've met some people, and out of country, yeah, which is amazing. Uh, they find out about it from other places and they know how big it is, whereas to us, it's just something that we go
Yeah.
to every year because it doesn't cost much for us to pay for a hotel and
Yeah,
stuff.
so,
Well, actually, it will for me now.
so there is 2 major conventions, that is related to anime in California, and other than Fanime, is the other one is Anime Expo, which is in LA. And I've never been to that one, but that one has more kind of like industry type people going to it, and it's big. It has a lot of backers from like industry backers and stuff. But whereas Fanime, it started out with a group of fans, and it kind of just has that same idea, uh, you know, made by fans for fans. And
Yeah,
yeah,
everything is set up by the
so
fans.
that's what me and Nalir is gonna do in a week or two.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I wish I
oh
could
my
go.
goodness. But yeah,
Actually, if my sister, because my sister offered that if I ever visit, I could stay at her apartment. So, although I would rather be in a hotel room with you
sleep on the
guys, just
floor
have fun. Sleep in the bathtub. I didn't get to do that last time.
because we had to use the bathtub.
Yeah, jerks.
Sorry, but that's where the shower was connected to.
Yeah, last year it was Nalir, Moo, Harl, and I. It was really
Hmm.
fun. Uh, yeah, you guys haven't met Har yet, but you will
Hopefully,
soon.
he's too busy
Uh,
having a life.
well, it's because of his job. When he gets home right now, he gets home at 7 your time. He gets out of work at 5 your time. We start at 4 your time. But he has been looking at places, and regardless of which place he gets, at the most, he said it should only be, if I remember him saying correctly, at the best, if he gets the place that he wants, he should be home at like 5:10. And if he doesn't get the place that he wants, then at the most, it should only take 20 minutes for it to get home. So we just simply change our recording time to like
Yeah,
6
and
or something.
so Harl's a is one of our good friends, and he does all the artwork for us. So
Yes,
all
all that pictures you see, he
yeah,
drew them.
and yeah, he's too busy, being some animator right now. That's what he does.
He's gonna be the future of
Yeah,
Pixar
yeah, his
someday.
dream job, Pixar. But yeah, last year it was through me, Nalir, and Harl, and the four of us. Like, okay, so I've been going for like a good, oh my god, it's gonna be like almost 20 years now. But I've been going for like ever, basically. And last year was the first time I have been in Artist Alley so many fucking times. Like every time we went down into the convention area, so the convention has Artist Alley, and then they have the dealer's hall, and then they have a bunch of video rooms and set up for you to watch, anime and stuff with the schedule. So one of the main attractions is Artist Alley and Dealer's Hall. So Artist Alley is where people will sell their artwork, their comics, or any type of crafts that they have. And before, I used to just kind of go in, look at all the booths, buy something if something really just stands out. But last year, I every day we were there, we were always in that room. And oh my gosh. And it's all
Yeah, to be
Harl's fault.
honest,
Harl.
well, it's actually my fault too. Cause to be honest, when I first started going to Fanime, I was just mildly interested in anime, etc. I was more of a and always a gamer. Um, but between then and last year, I just started watching a lot more and more anime and getting more into the fandoms, as people would call. Like I would get more integrated into some of the anime, especially One Piece. And so last year when we went was actually like the first time that I actually appreciated the artwork
The
that was
full
there.
impact of it.
And the full impact. So not only it wasn't just horror, it was like I always wanted to go back too. It was like, oh man, I want to get this, this, and that, right? It was just I would wait day by day to see what other stuff I might get, and then I would go the next day. I got so many posters. Also, thanks to you guys, because even though I was like very financially insecure that year, unlike the year before when it was just you, me, and my sister, you guys kept buying, especially Hara kept buying like enough posters that you would get one free, and I get to choose the free one, and I was like, yes!
Yeah.
I was a moocher last year,
Well, the
everybody.
year
They even bought me
before,
food.
I was the moocher, so it was totally fine.
Yeah, the year before, I had like a couple jobs and I was making money and I actually saved up a lot of money. This last year, I was just like, I don't even know if I even had a job that around that time. So it was complete reversal of situation.
Yeah, it was funny, like, the year before, it was the first time I met Foof face to face, and not just meeting Foof, but I also met her dad and her mom's husband and, the rest of her family, and it was kinda funny.
Even
And
my
oh,
grandma.
Foof's grandma loves me for some reason. I don't even know. She
Yeah,
just, like
she's so my grandma is so lovable,
and
but they don't normally live in San Jose, so they came around. Oh wait, it's because of my sister's
yeah.
graduation. That's why. Moo even Bunny even went to my sister's
Well, yeah, I was gonna
graduation.
be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to the convention and just hang around until, Foof gets done with that," and then, Foof's dad's like, "No, just come with us," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Like, yeah, you're totally
And then,
welcome.
yeah, it was funny because her mom pretty much thought I was gonna murder Foof and everybody, so, yeah, there was that.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it was when you were first coming, because she was
Internet
like,
friend? What is that?
yeah,
A
internet friend, yeah.
murderer? Psychopath?
Like for people who don't understand that you really can make friendships, sometimes more meaningful friendships on the internet than in real life. Because I know a lot of people who are simply friends because they met somewhere and now all they do is kind of go to a bar and drink and then talk about random stuff. But like we hang out like every day. Moo is my best friend in the world, and we've met on the internet, and we're mostly see each other only on the internet. So I mean, people who don't understand that are like, "Whoa, you're bringing some stranger you don't absolutely know, that even though you've known them for the past 2 years or whatever, into our house, they're gonna murder and rape you." And I'm like, well, I don't think Moo has a strap on, so I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Anyways, yeah, so, it was really funny, definitely, Yeah, meeting face to face for the first time was a pretty funny experience.
Yeah, and actually, when they get back in a couple weeks, okay, just uh, yeah, we'll talk more about Fanime when they come back. Um, because they'll just have gone. They'll have so much to tell us.
Yeah, we'll definitely. So, if you want more information about Fanime, you can go to their website, fanime.com or fanimecon.com. You can still pre-register up until, or I think you can. I don't know, because it's happening this month and very soon. So I think you can early register if you can't pre-register. For like
Yeah,
I think it's $75 now. It increases, but if you're thinking about going or dropping by, you can either early register through their website or you can do it at the convention and wait in the big lines. But if you just want to like bypass this whole year and wait for next year, registration and hotel reservations, which go very fast, usually, well, they happened in November this year, or last year, which was kind of weird, but I was on top of that shit.
yeah, you always are.
But yeah, so yeah, really just kind of like poke around their website. They also have a kind of another convention that they host concurrently with Fanime called Clockwork Alchemy, which is more steampunk related, and so they have like steampunk workshops and kind of like an appreciation for more steampunk type things without all that anime stuff kind of connected to it. So yeah, so there's that if you don't really like anime, and then there's Fanime. And if you register for one, you registered for the other, and it's just one price. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Plus, some famous cosplayers
Yeah,
go to
like
Fanime,
Yaya
don't they?
Han. She is amazing, by the way. But yeah, the cosplays are definitely one of the big, highlights of the whole convention. You see some people who, dress up for fun, people who dress up who put like a lot of work into their costumes, and it shows. And some people who are beginners who yeah, A for effort, maybe work on some other things, but it takes a lot of balls to dress up as a character that you enjoy. And if you are going to cosplay at any type of convention, don't be scared to do it. I mean, I know I dressed up
Yeah.
as a Tonberry, and like I didn't have no eye holes in my head piece, so I literally had to like grab onto my friend's shirt and kind of be guided along. But I had this giant fucking tail behind me, had this lamp, I had this cardboard like knife thingy, and I don't know how many pictures people took of me because I couldn't see. But oh my goodness, I got stopped so many times. But yeah, it's great. I,
I mean, I never even actually cosplay, but normally I just like dress up, dude. Just put on. I think when I went with you the first time, I had like my dogtooth belt and suspenders, and I had like a nice shirt with a flower in it and a bow tie. Just going as a
oh
Doctor Who
man,
fan,
remember
pretty
those hot
much.
pants Eevee guys? Oh my goodness.
Oh, and they had me like pull
Yeah,
my shirt
they're
up
like
with them, so
suspenders.
I had
Come pose
suspenders.
with us, and I was like, oh my god. It was
They were like, they were trying to get. I was like, take your shirt off. I couldn't take it off all the way because I
they're
had it
like, oh
unbuttoned.
god,
It's like this is as
buttons.
much as it goes.
You should get a shirt with the snap-on buttons. Anyways, so this group of guys, there was one for every evolution, and then there was one for the missing Missango. And so they all had color coordinated hot pants and hats representing the type of Eevee they had picked, and suspenders. And they all wore color matching like Converse, and they were, um, you know, shirtless and
Shirtless.
buff, and they literally were walking around together. It was great. But the Missango, because if anybody remembers or knows about a Missango, it was a glitch, and it looked kind of like boxy pixelated thing. So the dude who was in the hot pants, like you could see the hot pants, but then he had like this cardboard amalgamation that was pixelated, and then on this box was pictures of like, buff, torsos with six packs like all around it. And it was the best. Oh my god. It was so good. Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man, last year we had an encountered, or we saw a very, very convincing Jack Sparrow cosplayer who literally, he was either really good at acting or
Oh!
was actually drunk.
He was crossing a busy ass street and he was doing the fucking drunk ass Jack Sparrow walk and
It was
everything.
it was so it was so funny.
I was like, "Come back. I want to know you."
Yeah. Oh man. Uh, conventions are fun, but
Yeah. I think,
yeah,
yeah,
I guess I guess
that
we get
was
to wrap
really
it up
fun.
soon. We're
Yeah, actually, it'll be shorter than usual, but, only 46 minutes have passed, but update on what's gonna be happening, with Moo helping Inc. that I actually know, but I know next week, Moo is not gonna be here because she's gonna be, like, at her sister's house, right? Getting ready for
Yep.
Fanime and stuff,
I'm
helping
gonna be
out.
playing with the babies.
And Nalir should be here. It'll be also next week, if it's the 19th, which I believe it is, yes, the next week, the 19th, we are going to have a guest by the name of Wolfrin from an online community that Moo and I are both a part
And
of
Harl.
for a year and a half now. And Harl, I forgot about Harl.
Forgot about Harl.
Um, I can't forget about Harl, he's too beautiful. But Moo won't be here, but we will have a guest. The week after that, will you guys be back?
I should be. Nalir's flight leaves very early Monday, and I'll probably be like hanging about Monday, helping my sister out and stuff, and then I'll probably be back by Monday night. But yeah, I should be back by Tuesday.
Okay. So even if Nalir isn't back, or maybe she's
Tired.
like tired or whatever, then at least it'll be Moo and I. So at least for the next couple of weeks, which during this whole Fanime fiasco, uh we know that we'll have more than just me here. So if Nalir isn't back in the next couple of weeks, we won't talk about Fanime then because we're gonna want Nalir to be there. We'll talk about it in 3 weeks from now if she's not there. So basically, next week we have a guest, Wolfriend, and most likely it'll be Wolfriend, hopefully Nalir and I. After that, it'll be for sure Moo and I, and hopefully Nalir again. And if she's there, you will get the full Fanime story from Bunny and Nalir
Oh
on that
goodness.
episode. And that episode will be just Fanime. We won't introduce anything else just so we can have the whole hour or whatever to talk about it. And then the week after that, if Nalir was there the week before, it will be business as usual. Otherwise, it'll be the Fanime talk then. So you know when to look for the Fanime talk.
Well,
Fortunately, I don't have any topics planned ahead because we think of them the week before our podcast.
yeah.
Usually the day
So yeah, the
before.
next three shows might be the Fanime talk. Just keep a lookout. That's basic.
Yeah, I mean, not next week for sure because Fanime won't have happened then. But yeah, the next two shows after next week will definitely be Fanime Talk. Next week, you will find out a lot more about the community that Moo Harlan I are a part of. I almost said Moo Harlan Bunny.
Buharl
Um,
Bunny.
because I'll have Wolfram there and we'll talk more about it. So because it's a really great community. But yeah, this wraps up the show. Uh, I hope you enjoyed it.
Like, favorite, and subscribe.
Our promotional speaker Bunny has spoken. um, so we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.